let's get started because everyone that is presenting is here. I now see a count of 32 people who are online. So we'll start now. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We know this is an incredibly busy time, often and a very stressful time for so many of us and our families doing so many things with virtual school, virtual work, virtual life at times, but you know, life is real and there's so much that's going on for everyone. So I just so appreciate the time that everyone is taking to watch this, and also the time for our special guests who are here this evening. So I guess I'll introduce myself in case you don't know. I'm Eva Marie Carney. I am the district representative for District 2 for the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, which is about half of the East Coast. Because we don't currently have a representative for District 1, I sought the permission, I guess, of the chairman and others to also invite District number 1 folks onto this meeting. And of course, there are also others who just learned about the meeting, and you're very welcome as well. I'd love it if people put into the chat where they are from, so we have an idea of who is with us tonight. And I've already seen a couple of things here from folks. There's somebody from Missouri, there's someone from Pennsylvania, people from Virginia, somebody from the Virgin Islands, people from Maryland. I don't know who I've missed. Let's see, Georgia, Bill Anderson from Georgia, California, Arizona. So it's, somebody who's now in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So we have a wide range of folks. Welcome to everyone. Let me introduce our speakers and sort of guests of honor tonight. I don't think they really need an introduction, but first we have Chairman Rocky Barrett, who is in the white shirt in the middle of the room. To his left, as we are looking at the screen, is Vice Chairman Capps. To his right, as we're looking at the screen, is our Secretary Treasurer, Dwayne Trousdale. And to Mrs. Capps' far left is our Director of the Language Department for the nation, Justin Neely. So thank you all. And then not in the room, but very important and not to be left out, is Jennifer Bell, the Director of Public Affairs. She is in her office, socially distancing, and also she will be making a large part of this presentation. So we wanted to be sure that everyone would be able to hear her. She's got some slides she'll be showing. So she's doing that from her office, I guess just really steps from where everybody else is sitting right now in Shawnee. So at this point, Mr. Chairman, if you would, I would really appreciate your doing an invocation for us as we get started here.
Thank you. I was given a prayer by our good friend Don Perot, so I thought I would use that one. You all, Mama goes then, oh, you creator, Mini Jayak, Bidene Do, Ijab de what? Shkimek Bininan, and all of you spirits who sit above us. Minaode Minido Ednizet Ije which Bekishmok, and the spirit who abides to the west. Minaode Ednizet Ije which Kisinyok, and this one who abides to the north. Minaoda Ednizet Ije which Mokek, this one who abides to the east. Miniodo Ednizet Ije which Nokwek, and this one who abides to the south. Miniodo Ednizet Bide Shidnokmes Kignan, and this one who lives within Grandmother Earth. Minishaibe Mishogi Shek, and is what Gi Minidok, and these spirits who live in the heavens. And Gom Shiiwa and Dodaske Go. Today we pray earnestly. Ije Kiwab Me Gomen, Ode Shkwede Nisi, that we are watched over by this fire spirit, Minishi Iwe, Madmomin Megwa, and that we pray still, Mini Inojo Etso Nangotoigo, and that we are blessed, each and every one of us. Ode Shikisham Eneto, by this great spirit, Mini Jaya Gode Bimadzije, and though all these who live, meaning Gode Pinoshayek and these children, meaning Ninan Jayek and all of us. Iwi Nojokoyek Jayek Sheode Keshminito, that we may all be blessed by this great spirit. Iwe Begednik Gego Ode Yajdonin, that we may all put down our prayers. Ipich Chiwin Megowin Jayak Ode, that we are very grateful for all this. Wisniwin Mina Ode Minoche Webziwin, food and this good health. Mina Ode Wajitmowin, Mina Ode Bimadzawin, and this help and this life. Mina Mikwetch Jayak Ikedyak, and all say thank you. Ipich Chi Winmoyak Ode Pige Nina, to show how grateful we all are at this time. May to go to gay Winwa Ege Majeshnoat Shote, and for those who have gathered here, may to gay win Nara Kedode Piginin, and I'm grateful at this time also. You say Ode Inajmoyan, and go. And that is all I have to say today. You, amen.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, I know you have lots of tobacco, but I'd like to give you a little and ask you if you could share that prayer in writing. Is that possible?
I'll send it to you today.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I'd like to send that out as just as part of telling people about this meeting, if we can do that. Okay, so I'd like to just give a very quick overview of the program and then just turn it over to the people who we really are here to hear from. Just so you know that our plan is to go only till 8:15, so that people can get on with the rest of their evenings, since we're already starting a little bit late in the evening. We're gonna start with an update on the language program from Justin, and also Justin is going to treat us to a traditional story. And I thank Mrs. Capps for the suggestion of asking Justin to tell a story. I think that will be a lovely way for us to celebrate being together, even if virtually. And then Jennifer is going to outline the CARES Act. There are 3 phases, as you probably know, but she's going to go into just a little bit of detail. She's got slides that she will refer folks to, and she's going to explain this in a clear way that hopefully will embolden everyone to go out who hasn't applied and just put in their applications. It's going to show us the website and how you do it if you haven't gone onto it yet. And then as we're doing this, please feel free to put your questions into the chat, and I will moderate the chat, but leave that really to the experts, those who have put together this program and who are administering it, overseeing it, to answer those questions. And then I'd like to get some comments from Mrs. Capps about all that's going on, and her thoughts about the program, et cetera. Also from Dwayne, from Secretary Treasurer Dwayne Trousdale, and then turn to Chairman Barrett for his comments. And I understand he may be talking to us a bit about a couple of different things going on at the nation. And then our plan is to say farewell at 8:15. So without further ado, the camera is on Justin, which is great. So Justin, I'll turn it over to you.
Is that 8:15 Central or East?
That is Eastern time.
Eastern time, so just over an hour.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Thanks.
sure.
Okay, I'm just wondering if this is picking up okay if I leave this on. Can you guys hear me okay?
Did Jennifer
No.
switch the screen?
I'll stand up.
Yeah, I would love to stand up.
He's off the camera now.
I'll come back
Keep
in.
them around.
Hold on, let me find you.
Yeah, I'm seeing that here. It's just easier. Okay.
Great.
So first off, I just wanted to tell you about some of the exciting things we have going on in the language department. We have several online language learning platforms, which are great for these times when we can't get out and we have to, we're tied up in our houses. We have one at language.potawatomi.org, and it's an online Moodle course, and it has a beginner 1 with 20 chapters, beginner 2 with 20 chapters, and an intermediate course with 7 chapters. We also offer a high school course, which is currently available anywhere in Oklahoma, which counts for world language credit. Very exciting. This year, we have 4 school districts that are actually participating. The very first year we did it, we just had Wanette. This year we have Wanette, Maud, Shawnee, and Tecumseh school districts all participating with students in our Potawatomi language course. We also have 1 student actually at Arizona State University who's taking it for collegiate credit. We created originally a collegiate version for St. Gregory's, which is obviously no longer with us, but we still have the course available. For folks that would prefer language with maybe a little less grammar, a little more structure, or a little less structure, we have 2 courses at memrise.com. For some reason, if you just go to the Memrise app, it's hard to find it, but if you go to www.memrise.com and search for Potawatomi language, you can find it and enroll in it, and then you can bring it up on your app if you have it. One of the courses is called Potawatomi Phrases, and the other one, A Day in the Life Potawatomi. And the Memrise is neat because it uses a lot of old recordings of different people and phrases that you use every day. Also, it has a competitive nature to it. You can actually, there's like a leaderboard where you can be like one that's in the lead for the week or for the month. A lot of folks like that competitive element. We have 2 different YouTube channels, one that's geared more for kids and one that's geared more towards adults. The kids one has about 129 videos on it. The adult one has about 133 videos on it. The kids one has things like songs like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in Potawatomi and little short movie spoofs of like Frozen, Despicable Me, songs, learning segments, stories, and then also our original puppet show, Tuck Wigwam. We created this Tuck Wigwam, this puppet show, as a way for kids who have never heard the language before. The idea behind it was basically we have these puppets that are having little interactions, going on little misadventures, and we're introducing language throughout the show. And at first, when we introduce the language, we'll say the word in English several times after. We'll say the word, like we'll say bonjour, hello, or miigwech, thank you. And after they've heard the word several times, we actually stop using the English. And right now we've produced 5 of them so far, and our goal is at around maybe when we can get to around episode 15 to have most of it in Potawatomi, so that kids could have started out with having heard little to no Potawatomi and really picked up a significant amount of Potawatomi just watching this kids puppet show. It's a cute little show. It's called, like I said, Tuck Wigwam. And you can find that on our YouTube channel, the kids YouTube channel. Another recent project we've been doing is we've been working a lot with public domain movies. There's several movies that exist that are out there that are in public domain, which means we can do basically whatever we want with them. A lot of older classics. Miracle on 34th Street, things like that. Some of the old black and white ones are in public domain. A lot of the old cartoons, like Popeye the Sailor Man. So far, we've done Casper the Friendly Ghost in Potawatomi. We did a cartoon version of Gulliver's Travels, which is about almost an hour-long cartoon. We've done Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which is the classic one they always show around Christmas time, like the stop-motion one. We've done that one in Potawatomi. We also have done, more recently, we actually did Night of the Living Dead in Potawatomi for Halloween, the old classic 1968 version. Great movie to do because it's perfect. It's got things like, it doesn't have long phrases. It's like, hurry, run, help me. Perfect vocabulary for learning. So we have that. We're wrapping up a Popeye the Sailor Man, which is a cute little 20-minute cartoon that we should be probably done with at the end of the week. Have a new online dictionary at www.potawatomidictionary.com. Has about 9,600 words in it with over 6,300 sound files. some of the neat features, and I want to give a shout out to our IT team. They actually in-house developed this dictionary. It's really fantastic, all the different elements that they've added to it. One of the lead programmers, Jonathan, every time I'd ask him to do something, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Sure, why not? And so he's really done an awesome job. It's got a video component even to it. So some words, for example, if you go to the word pugna is a Potawatomi cornbread. You can actually go to the word, you can hear audio, but you can also hit on a video link that'll actually show you how to cook pugna, this traditional Potawatomi cornbread. Really cool. Let's see here. We have a Facebook page, Potawatomi Language, where we host live classes and we share a lot of our Zoom sessions. If we do some Zoom sessions, we'll share them up there. And finally, well, not finally, there's two more things real quick. I'm trying to be concise if I can, but I don't want to take up too much time. We've done a series of posters for the 7 grandfathers. We've got some really creative folks working in the language department right now, and we've made some neat, I don't know if y'all can see this. Can you come in on this? Maybe I'll come up. This way.
Wait, see that camera right down low on you?
This one. I see it.
Come in a little bit closer.
There we
right
go.
there.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Definitely a good view.
This one here is for respect, Witatan Moen. But we've made, so far we've made 5 posters. We've only actually made, I guess, technically made them 5 of them, but we'll get 7 done eventually. This one here is for humility, Ed Basindoan. Let me walk it back a little bit. Ed Basindoan. And we hope to make these available in the gift shop here in the near future. This one here was one of our first ones, Wadase one. This was a neat idea where we have like a traditional warrior and kind of a modern day soldier, if you will, showing courage, or Wadase one. And the last one that I brought is the Bana one, which is love. And what truer love than a love between a parent and their child? We've got a lady with her baby in a cradle board. And we've also made some of them into t-shirts, and we're going to try to get those available in the gift shop as well. Last thing, before I tell my story, because I don't want to take up too much time here, is we actually just recently received a $200,000 grant from the Department of Energy that we're going to use to develop a series of children's books, level 1 and level 2 books. And it's kind of like reader books, if you will, how they kind of step up. So like level 1 is going to be real basic for like littler kids, like maybe like, Jeep Dibwin chair, or Jeep Dibwin Mshwamget, the red chair, something like that. And then it'll kind of build its way up into a little more complicated stories. But we're going to make 12 total books with the grant money. We're going to be able to publish the books and make some like hard type books, and also some bigger books to use in the child development center, those big flip type books that you can put on like a, what do you call it?
Easel.
Thank you, Nicolette, an easel. So we're really excited about that. We just got the grant like a couple weeks ago, so we're in the infancy stages of kind of developing stuff, but we hope to also make those available in the future at the gift shop. I'm gonna have to kind of figure out, we may be able to give some of those away. We probably have to wait till the grant ends and we can probably reproduce them again, because it's weird, you can't exactly sell stuff that you got from the grant. So.
And that's the Energy Department?
Yeah, it's a really strange grant. Yeah, Department of Energy. And you wouldn't think they would have anything to do with language. It's the first year they've ever offered it. We were one of 18 tribes in the United States to get it. So we were an elite company. There was actually one other Potawatomi group that actually got one. The Forest County Potawatomis actually got one as well. But we got the max amount that you could. It's only for 1 year, but the way it looks, if they do it next year, we should probably be able to apply in a similar format and make another series of books, maybe a little higher level books. So that's exciting. Okay, I think I got it all out. If you heard something that you were interested in and you liked, and maybe you missed it, please don't hesitate to give me a call at the tribe in my office. Send me an email at jneely@potawatomi.org, and I can definitely let you know about any type of language learning opportunities we got. But as you can see, we have a lot of stuff out there. The good thing is we were already in a good position with having stuff available online when this pandemic hit, so it's all out there and available in that way. So, okay. So I was thinking today which story I wanted to tell. I know quite a few different stories. I decided on, I think I'm going to tell the one, it's called The Old Blind Couple. This is a funny story. Some of our stories have definite historical reasons and kind of origins. They explain things like why the stars are a certain way or why certain animals look the way they are. This particular one is a little bit more of just an amusing one. It has some definite, what do you call, moral teachings, if you will, to it as well. But at one time, long time ago, there was an elderly couple, a Mdemose, an old lady, and a Koezi, an old man, and they were getting up in age, and the leaders of the village were a little bit concerned. They thought, well, if an enemy tribe attacks the village, they can't see very well, and they're gonna get slaughtered. We got to do something to protect them. So they kind of got their heads together and came up with an idea. They decided what they would do is they would build this elderly couple a wigwam, a house a little further away from the village, about 5 miles away, where they could still kind of go over from time to time and make sure that they've got plenty of food and rations, but at the same time, and keep a little bit of an eye on, but at the same time, they were further enough away from the village that they weren't going to get killed if the village was attacked. So they built them this house out there, and at first everything went really well. The elderly couple, it was like a little getaway home. They really enjoyed themselves, and once a week or so, different tribal members would come by and they would bring them, suksi wias, venison, and damen, corn, and whatnot. And they were just, and they kind of got into a routine. We all get into a bit of a routine. And every morning, the woman, the Demose, the old woman, and the Koezi, they would wake up, and the lady would kind of stoke the fire and get it going and cook a little breakfast. But at first, the first thing that would happen is the old man would get a bucket and he would take it and he would follow down this rope. Now, because they can't see very well, they had taken some rope and they'd attached it to the wigwam, and they ran the rope out over here to where the creek was so that he could follow that rope down, scoop up some water, and kind of find his way back, and then give the water to his wife, and then she would use that for cooking them their meal. And everything they did, they always shared. They always split everything half and half. So whatever she would make up that day, she would give part of it to her husband, the older man, Kwesi, and then she would eat half of it. And like I said, they lived a good life. They were enjoying themselves. It was kind of just like a little getaway from everybody else, and everything was good for a while. Till one morning there was an aspen, and aspen is a raccoon that was kind of wandering through the woods, and he saw this old man get up, and he saw him kind of follow that rope down, and scoop some water, and he's just kind of scratching his head like, what is this guy doing? He's watching. He comes in a little closer, and he sees him kind of feeling around in the wigwam, and hands that bucket of water to the elderly lady, his wife, and she starts cooking him some food, and he gets in a little closer, and then he realizes, he's just kind of like, he realizes they can't see him at all. They can't see him. I mean, one of them can see a little bit. The other one is just like completely blind. So that he's like, this is too good. I'm gonna have a little fun with him. I'm gonna play a little prank on him. So he decides to. They go to sleep for the night and everything. He goes down there, takes that rope that's going down to the creek bed, and he runs it over to a big pile of sand. And then he just kind of sits back, and the sun rises, and just like every morning before, the Kwesi gets up, the Demose, the old lady gets up, and she says, "Hey, Nadanim Beach, go fetch us some water." And he's like, okay, gets his bucket, starts down that rope, gets that bucket, and just scoops it. And he just scoops. Oh no. The creek's dried up. What's going on? So he starts back up that rope, and he gets back up to the wigwam where the Demose's at, and says, "The creek's dried up. The creek's dried up. What are we gonna do? This is terrible." And the Demose, she don't believe him. I mean, she just is like, he's just being lazy. He just doesn't want to do anything. Just lazy. More and more, just getting lazier and lazier. She said, whatever. Give me the water. I'll go take care of this. I'll do what you can't do. And she grabs it. Well, while this little interaction's going on between them, the aspen takes that rope that's in the sand, runs it back over to the creek, puts it down. Old lady takes the bucket, falls it down, scoops up some water, and she's just sitting there thinking, this Kwesi, oh man, he's just getting more and more useless every day. She's just real ticked off. She gets up there, gets back to the wigwam, kind of feels her way around, takes a little water and splashes it on the old man. What's that? Oh, it's beach, old man. You just didn't want to go get it. No, I swear, the creek was dried up. I don't know what's going on. More and and more you're just getting useless, she told him. So then she just gets after, starts whipping up a meal, and she's got them a nice little meal made up. And she takes and starts putting half of it onto a plate for herself and half of it for the old man. She takes that plate over to him and she gives it to him. Well, while this is going on, again, the raccoon's watching, and he kind of scurries into the wigwam, grabs her plate, sets it down. Well, she's giving the old man his plate. She gets over there to where she's at, gets her plate, and she's getting ready just to take a big old bite. What? And now she is ticked. She's had it. First, the old man don't want to go get any water in the morning. He's just being late. And now, to top it off, he ate her half of the food. She just cooked all this food, and he ate half of it. So now she just starts feeling her way around the wigwam. So there, feels it, gives him a shove. Boom. Hey, what's that for? Well, first off, old man, Kawasi, you won't go get water this morning. You're just being lazy. Then, to top it off, I split the food out for both of us, put my portion aside. You eat my portion also. More and more, you're just becoming useless. I don't even know why I'd bother. And after she just starts laying into him, just railing on him, that raccoon just can't contain himself any longer. He just busts out laughing. He's just like, just starts rolling around the ground. Oh, goodness. And they kind of hear that going on. They're like, okay. And they realize that they've been had, that this aspen, this raccoon has just made a fool of them and just giving them a hard time. The old lady, she feels real bad. She just kind of goes over to him, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. The old man's like, well, and I guess the moral of this story would be, don't jump to conclusions. Kind of feel it out. If somebody tells you that's the way it happened, maybe it did. Just give them the benefit of the doubt, if you will. So that's the old blind couple. And that's, like I said, it's a funny traditional story, but we've got lots of different stories. Some that explain kind of why the stars are the way they are, like the bear that has a long tail. There's ones that describe the coming of the seasons. We have a lot of them we can only do in the winter time, which we will do a winter storytelling event. If we have to just do it through Zoom, we will. We've always had really good attendance in the past, but we'll just see. We may just be doing Zoom this time, but it'll be fine that way because we usually would do them live anyway, and it'll probably be around February-ish. It's supposed to be done in the winter time. There's traditionally that, Potawatomi people believe that certain spirits, they're asleep in the winter, and that's when you can tell some of these stories that involve Wiske the trickster, some of those. But I'll definitely let your folks know, let Eva know when we'll be having that event later. So I appreciate you allowing me to be a part of your meeting this evening.
Miigwech, Justin, thank you very much. That was lots of fun. And I hadn't known, I know a Potawatomi gentleman who's named Kawasi, and I didn't know what that meant, but now I do.
It has a literal meaning too. It kind of means old earth animals. It means you've been around a long time.
Ah, okay. Well, that fits Bob Pearl, and he wears his name very proudly. So
It's a good name.
That's great. I'm actually not being rude. I've gotten a couple of messages, people saying that they don't have the link, so I'm putting it on Facebook now. So hopefully some more people will join. We now have 62 people signed up, or signed into the meeting, which is great. So now I'd like to turn to Jennifer. If Jennifer, you can really sort of give us the meat of this meeting, I'd really appreciate it.
I'm ready. I am going to share my screen with you guys. Can you see bright red? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So thank you, Eva, for having me here tonight to help get the word out about these CARES Act programs. That has been our biggest challenge, is making sure everybody knows about the programs and how to apply. So I'm glad there are several people on here tonight to learn more. I am just going to go quickly through this. So if you guys have questions, just type them in the Q&A and we will get to those later. There are 3 phases of the program. phase 1 was rolled out in June, and it was really programs aimed at helping those who had lost income. So we have the COVID-19 Income Loss Support Program, which was formerly the phase 1 individual program. And this program is for those tribal members who have lost income due to COVID-19. So if your employer had to shut down due to stay-at-home orders, or you were furloughed or laid off due to COVID-19, that would be the program to apply for up to $1,200. There is also a COVID-19 business interruption grant for tribal member-owned businesses. And this is for tribal member-owned businesses, again, who were forced to close, had limited reopening or decreased customer demand, things of that nature that are attributable to COVID-19. Those tribal member-owned businesses are eligible for up to $5,000 in assistance. We rolled out phase 2 in July. It was the biggest rollout of programs that we have had so far. I don't know if there will be more or not. But this included programs for student assistance, elder assistance, disabled assistance. These first 2 programs are aimed at school-age Potawatomi children, ages 3 to 19, who are enrolled in kindergarten through 12th grade. It's to help with distance learning, technology, things like laptops and internet access, also school clothes, masks, and other necessary school supplies. The technology program is up to $800 per eligible tribal member dependent, and up to $600 per eligible tribal member dependent for the school clothes. The parent does have to apply for the children in these programs. The parent with custody of the children, if it's a situation where the parents are split up, needs to be the one who applies. Parents should apply for both programs if they have children within this age range. And then we have programs for the college Aid Potawatomi as well. So high school age students, or maybe students who are thinking about getting an advanced degree, there are some funds for different prep programs and test fees. So if you have taken the ACT, SAT, GRE, GMAT, LSAT, MCAT, DAT, PCAT, or OAT, this is a program that will reimburse you for these fees. So you do have to pay for it up front, and then you can be reimbursed up to $200. And then for the Potawatomi students who are in college, if you have been enrolled March 1 through December 30th, 2020, you're eligible for this program. And it's to help for things if people had to move because of college shutdowns, if they had to buy a new computer because of distance learning, if they needed to buy masks or certain PPE or cleaning supplies because they lived in dorms. So those kind of expenses that are related to going to college and dealing with the COVID emergency. So if you're enrolled, that would be the one to apply for. There are also 2 food programs in phase 2. There's the Disability Food Security Program and the Elder Food Security Program. On the Elder Food Security Program, the age of the elder is age 60 and older. And the Disability Food Program, you just have to show that you're disabled in some way. That benefit is $200 per month, and that is March through December. So we're already into November, and the way that kind of works is that people have been getting a check for the month they apply, and then they have been getting a separate check, kind of the retro payment from all the months before they applied, and then they have been getting additional checks for each month after through December. So if you haven't applied for that yet, you are still eligible to receive March through December, $200 a month. Phase 2 also had an elder housing assistance relief program. The age on this one is also 60 and older. Tribal members who are behind on their rent or mortgage can receive up to $1,000 for 3 months. You do have to show that you're behind, and these payments are made directly to the landlord or mortgage company. And then there's phase 3, the most recent program, which rolled out, I believe it's October 1st. It seems a lot longer ago than that. And it has the COVID related expenses program. This is up to $1,000 per eligible tribal member. And this is for, the program lists things that aren't eligible. So things like car loans or anything, any kind of debt related to an asset, those are not eligible expenses. But there are lots of other COVID related eligible expenses. So we have seen everything from, public transit has been shut down in some cities. So people are having to take Uber and Lyft to get from point A to point B. People have had to purchase items in order to work from home. People have had increased childcare expenses or tutoring expenses because of distance learning, things like that. So your expenses do need to be related to COVID-19. That's what you have to put on your application. But if you think about it, there are probably lots of different examples. And then the last one of phase 3 is the foreclosure and eviction prevention program. This is open to anyone 18 and older who doesn't live in tribal housing. The people that live in tribal housing, there is assistance available to them through the housing department. But this is up to $6,000 to help prevent eviction or foreclosure. And again, these funds go directly to the landlord or mortgage company, and you do have to be behind on your rent or mortgage in order to be eligible for these programs. And then the most important part, if you, I probably went through those too fast, I apologize. I do talk probably too quickly. You can go online to potawatomi.org/cares or call. We have, administration has set up a whole kind of department to help with this. That number is 833-481-0638, and they can help you get all of this program information, help get an application out to you, help you with the status of an application, all of those kinds of things. And then I was just going to pull up the website so you guys can kind of see. If you just go to potawatomi.org, the first thing you're going to see is this pop up on the front page of the website, and it has all of the COVID information here. You'll click this first link, and it's going to take you to a page with all of these program summaries on it. And you'll scroll for a while because there are 11 programs. It tells you about each of them, the summaries, what it takes to qualify, the benefit amount, and then these buttons on the side will take you to apply. So if you click apply online, it's going to take you to the portal. If you happen to be logged into the portal, it's going to take you, like it just took me directly to the application for that program. Or you can choose the red button and it will take you to the application to print off and fill out and mail in. So once you apply, your application goes to a reviewer. They make sure that all of the information is in your application. They determine if you're eligible. They work with you to get any missing information input. And that takes, we have had a pretty sizable increase in applications lately. So that does take a little bit of time for it to get through the review process. Once it is through the review process, it then goes on to be approved. And so that also takes a little bit of time. I will say from review to approved does not take that much time. The people approving the applications are doing so very quickly. The review process can take a little bit longer because, again, they're kind of going through your application and making sure everything is correct. And then once it's approved, it will go to the paid status. And paid means that that application has been exported to our accounting department. And from that point, when your application is marked paid, we ask that you allow 2 to 3 weeks for your check to arrive. And I'm going to stop sharing because that was pretty much it.
Thanks. I had a question just about the portal. So if people are having trouble getting on to the portal, how do they address that? Did they call the general number?
Yes, if you're having trouble getting onto the portal, it would be good to call the 833 number. They can assist you. Or if you prefer, you can email cpncares@potawatomi.org.
Okay, great. So I think, Jennifer, thank you very much. That was a really clear summary, I think. And I also just, so some folks that are on tonight may not have gotten their paper yet for November, but I'm holding up an insert that was in the November edition of the HoneyCon that has much of the same information in it that Jennifer walked through on her slides, and I think it's a very comprehensive. For example, I got approval on November 6th, which was 11 days ago. My landlord still has not received payment. This is putting us in danger of being evicted. Why is there a delay in sending payments after the CARES program applications have been approved? And I guess I'd ask the question, is there a way to ask for expedition in unusual situations?
I will take that question. I will just say that our accounting department and our people, they are extended to the hilt. It's not because we don't have enough people, it's because there's so much activity. I'll give you, for instance, today we got $3.5 million out the door to send to the post office. That's 3,462 checks. And that's 1 week's applications from last week. So if you just applied in November, on November the 6th, today is the 17th, I'm going to say that it could even take until, let's say, the end of the month for your landlord to get that check. And that wouldn't be out of the ordinary, because then we have to depend on the post office to get the checks to people. And some of you are out of state from Oklahoma. I want everybody to realize that this has been a huge undertaking for the Citizen Potawatomi Nation to reach out to all of our people and try to help them. We have 36,000 now, approximately 36,000 tribal members. And that is a lot of work. We've hired a lot of help too, to try to get the process through. I just ask you to please be patient. If you got the application and it was approved on November the 6th, I don't think it's time yet for your landlord to have gotten that check. So I would go to your landlord, even if your landlord needs to talk to someone at the nation, I would be glad to do that. I am there every day, and I would be glad to convince that landlord that we are going to get the check to them, if that's what has come about.
Okay.
So I think that you need to be a little bit patient in getting those checks. I have talked to several people. I know that there was one lady in Idaho, and it was several weeks before she got her check. And it had gone out from here we never could really determine why it took so long. But finally, she called me 2 weeks ago. She called me and she said, Miss Capps, I got my check. And she'd gotten another check before she even got that first one. And we never could determine what took so long. But she said that she lived in a community that had a lot of people with the same last name, and possibly that was it. But please be patient. And if you need to call someone at the Nation, they would be glad to talk to you and help you with your landlord.
Thank you.
I would
Mr.
also add that, that while it's easier for us to, hopefully, can you hear still?
Yeah.
Well, it's easier for us to staff the review teams and the department to take the application. When we switch into accounting, that is a different department, and we are already a big entity that is handling the daily checks of the Nation already. So it's hard to ramp that up, and our people are working day and night trying to get these applications and checks out the door. They processed over 20,000 already. They're doing an unbelievable amount of work. So we certainly understand that, especially with evictions, that the pressure is on. And that's why we're trying to encourage everyone as soon as possible, get your applications in, because the sooner we've got the application in and approved, then we can get the checks out to you. But unfortunately, the Nation is not spared by the COVID either. And we had staffing issues all across our nation.
Eva, I'd also like to say another example, and these are just really extreme examples, but they are true. Last Tuesday, a week ago, is today Tuesday, a week ago today, we got 2,500 checks out the door. Now, usually the Nation gets approximately 1,000 checks a week out the door. So now we're adding on to that $1,000, that 1,000 number of checks. Okay, Tuesday, we got 2,500 checks out the door. Thursday, we got 5,000 checks out the door. And Friday, we got 2,000 checks out the door. And so we also have to know that sometimes at the post office, it takes a while to get those through.
Yeah.
And we would just ask people to be patient. And there again, when I told your one person, I don't mind a landlord calling me, I don't mind that at all. And I would explain to them that the check has been processed and is in the mail. And
Yeah, no, that's a great suggestion.
I'd love to do that.
I hope the person that asked the question will do that.
Yes.
So here's another question. I have an enrolled CPN enrolled family member over age 18, living with family members as a dependent, not working due to medical issues, has not filed income taxes for 2019, has no income to report. Can they qualify potentially for the $1,000 related expenses grant?
If they are 18 and over,
Over 18. Mm-hmm.
no, 18 and over, if they are 18 years of age, they can qualify for the $1,000,
Whether they're working or not.
whether they're working or not.
Okay. It is not income dependent and it's not taxable. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Okay. Jennifer, did you have thoughts on that question?
No,
Okay.
I mean, as long as they're 18 and they can demonstrate they've had some COVID related expenses.
Okay. Can I follow up on terms of how one demonstrates that? Does one demonstrate that by stating it in a statement and saying this is true? Does one send in receipts? How does that work?
One thing that you could do is, you see this a lot, Eva, that I've had personal hygiene products that I've had to purchase more, sanitation products, more groceries during this time. you could say, you know, more medication. I'm sorry.
Electricity.
Yeah, you could
Internet.
say electricity, that person is living with someone.
Right.
But they could say more groceries, more sanitation products, more, I don't know, medical products. They might have to buy more medical products. So I think that person could do that real easily.
Okay. And so that's a matter of filling out the application, but one doesn't send receipts for everything that one's bought to get up to $1,000. Is that right? Receipts are not required?
That's right. I think that we have some confusion between phase one and the other phases. And Jennifer, you might chime in here. In the beginning, when we were doing phase one and we did the individual applications and really the business applications, we were requiring quite a bit of documentation. We have changed that. Now we're doing, if a person attests to the fact that they lost money and they tell why and how, well, we are approving those.
The federal government changed it.
Uh,
Federal government changed the rules. Also,
Some of the CARES Act rules did change. So,
I was just going to jump in and say that U.S. Treasury guidance, one thing we didn't talk about was that is how these funds have to be spent is based on that guidance. It has changed frequently. Sometimes it's changed weekly. So the guidance has allowed us to expand programs and decrease the amount of documentation required. So if you applied early on for some of these programs and your application didn't get far, I would also encourage you to go back and look at your application and see if we can get it processed at this point.
On mute, Eva Marie.
Right, unmuted. Okay. Our children are worried that by applying for financial support, they may be taking funds away from others who are in greater financial need than themselves. How can we advise them about this?
well, I would advise them that that's not the case. To please apply and bring that money into the family. Once it's into the family, they can determine how they want to spend it. But it should come to the family, and if they're let the tribe worry about those additional people that are in need. But it's a generous idea, but bring it into the family, and if they know of the ways that they can spend it that they deem were, more socially satisfying, then let them do that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Another question is, I have a 2.5-year-old son who's doing a preschool virtual program. Will he be eligible for the funds, or is the age of 3 firm?
do you want me to take that?
Sure.
I would say that the age of 3 is firm because we had worked with that. In the beginning, it was 4. And then we realized that there are actually some 3-year-olds that are actually enrolled in school. And so we took it down to 3. If we opened it up to 2.5 years of age, we're going to have a lot of people apply for the 2-year-olds.
Okay.
And so that's really pretty ironclad.
Okay. So the next question is, if you don't have your physical ID card, can you still apply for the programs?
I will say that as a person applies, their profile comes up on the system because it's just like tribal rolls. So if they know their number, they can bring their system up.
Okay.
And so they don't have an ID card. If they don't have an ID card, they need to be getting with tribal rolls to get one. But I will say that possibly, since we're limited on time. They possibly could apply, and if their name comes up in tribal rolls, will possibly, I'm not saying for sure, they need to get their ID card. They can get it from HR, from tribal rolls in a hurry, really.
Yeah.
And they also can provide date of birth, their full name, parents' name, social security number. There are other ways of identifying in the event of a lost card and let their application progress while they're waiting on their card.
That's right.
That sounds right. Okay, I actually just answered somebody's question today about how do I get a replacement card? And you can go onto the Potawatomi.org site under the tribal roles section under citizenship, and there's a form that you can fill out and send in, and even take your own passport photos and get it in there. So yeah, it's an efficient process. So encourage people to do that. So here's a question: can the lost income be from a spouse losing income for the household, or must it be the tribal member who loses the income to be eligible? Jennifer?
Sure, I can take that. For the income loss one, it is open to the household. So if it's not the tribal member who lost the income, they can still apply.
Okay, great. What about this question? If somebody already received $3,000 sent to their mortgage company for eviction prevention, are they eligible for the higher amount now? In other words, is it doubled to $6,000?
I would say that they would be eligible if it's, no, the limit, what is the limit on the mortgage? I'm sorry, I can't remember. It's
6,000, up to 6,000.
Yeah, they would be eligible for the other 3,000.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's up to $6,000 on the mortgage assistance.
Okay, thank you. Here's a question. My daughter was enrolled in high school in March through June, but is not currently enrolled. She graduated high school and she's taking a gap year waiting to start college. Is she eligible for the $600 in student assistance? Even if she's not currently enrolled, she was enrolled in March. Is she eligible?
Was she enrolled after March or just
March to June?
March to June. She's eligible.
Okay. And is that true for college as well? If you graduated from college in May, are you eligible for the program that is offered for college students?
If they were in college during the COVID period from March through December, they are eligible.
Okay. Here's a question. I have a question for my father. He was wondering if he gets COVID and he has to quarantine for 2 weeks, can he be reimbursed for lost wages if unemployment doesn't cover all of his pay?
If he files the individual, he could be eligible for whatever wages he lost there up to $1,200.
Okay. Okay. Lots of questions. We got the blood letter from CPN Tribal Rolls that my grandchildren are enrolled, but we're waiting on our actual IDs. So I think this may have already been answered by the chairman. Can the blood letter be used to apply?
Yes.
Okay. Can you verify the requirement for the individual income loss assistance? Is it for any loss of income? My application was denied once and then again upon review because I claimed travel income loss and that was not guaranteed income. Very specific question. Maybe that's best taken offline or directed. Maybe Jennifer, you can look at that and talk with the person about it later. It's an anonymous questioner.
Could that person call Jennifer or me tomorrow? Because I'm not understanding exactly what.
Yeah.
Are you talking about they lost money because they couldn't travel?
I think so. I think that's right, but I'm not quite sure what travel income is. So I'm going to ask them to call Mrs. Capps or Jennifer tomorrow.
That would be
Okay.
nice.
Another question, will there be any additional phases before 12:30?
Well, it doesn't appear, it doesn't appear so. The Secretary of the Treasurer, under this administration, doesn't appear to show any inclination to do anything with the transition team. So I don't know. I mean, we're all up in the air as to what's going to take place on January the 20th.
Okay. Okay. And is the tribe itself considering other types of programs that could get money out to people?
With funds that we have remaining from if the government doesn't take back the money that it gave us under the CARES Act, we will continue to distribute it as long as the Treasury Department lets us.
Eva, could I make a statement on that?
Sure, please do.
For right now, because we do not know what the government's going to do, we think that we just have until December, the very last day of December, to apply for anything. So for you people out there, you need to know that if you hadn't made an application for any of the programs that we're talking about, you need to do so as soon as possible. Because after December, the end of December, we cannot take any more applications unless they give us an extension. But we do have up to 3 months to get the money out the door. So Charles Clark of Tribal Rolls, he's having a tremendous time trying to get everybody enrolled right now. And I really wanted to put a deadline on it for December 1st, but we decided not to. We're going to let people keep applying and maybe even let them apply to enroll and to also make application for the COVID funds. So we're going to be really rushed in December because all of our tribal members just did not get their children on the rolls. Some of them just did not enroll until now. And all of a sudden that money is involved, and rightfully so. They decided that they want to enroll. We want them to be enrolled. I mean, it's not that we want to close the door on it. We want them to enroll, but there's time. It takes time to get everything done. I want everyone to know that if you're enrolling your children just now, once that enrollment hits Charles Clark's desk, he has to process it, then we have to turn around and we have to approve it as a legislature. You know, lots of people didn't realize that. They think that when the paperwork gets in, well, it's just over, but that's not right. It has to go to the legislature to be approved. And for the first time in our history, we have been doing those on an emergency basis. In other words, Jamie Mocha, the chairman's administrative assistant, she gets those together just like we were going to have a meeting, and she calls our legislators on them, sends them out, and then takes the vote. We've never done that before. We're doing it for our people so they can get their children enrolled or they can get themselves enrolled. And so we're not going to have any time after the end of December is what I'm saying. So we are working as hard as we can. Chuck came in the other day and he said, I need help. And so we have done some things in IT, information technology, that has helped him. And so everybody at the nation is working as hard as they can to get the COVID money out the door.
I believe we're looking at 37,000 members before the end of December.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, I know that we're having another legislative meeting on Monday, and I assume that there will be a list of folks that Dwayne will read their applications into the record, and we'll be voting on that then. So yeah, I know we've been really busy. So a question here is, A sad one. Will there be funds available to bury someone on top of the burial fund if someone dies because of COVID?
We do not have that in place right now. All we have is the $2,000 burial policy.
Okay.
We do have a department here at the Nation that has some extra money. It's our workforce department. And they possibly could help if it was locally, but their money is not for outside of local.
Okay.
So I'm not for sure how much money she has in that program anyway. But if you are from out of the state and someone passes, well, it would just be the $2,000 burial policy.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that answer. Another question is, someone is asking to confirm that funds from each of these programs, if paid out, are not taxable to the person receiving them.
They're not.
Not taxable. Okay.
I would just like to say that we do not plan to send out a 1099. And if you don't receive a 1099 on funds, then you're not going to have to pay taxes on it.
Okay. Okay. And so I think we're coming to the end of our questions. This is kind of, I guess, well, before I ask this last question, there have been a number of comments that are very complimentary of the staff and the outreach from the Nation, saying that the folks have received many phone calls from Shawnee. Lots of information has been provided, and people are very grateful for that outreach. So I wanted to pass that along, since we've just been peppering you guys with questions. And then the last question here is one of the first ones that came in, actually. Can you give specifics on how much of the funding remains?
You know, we are brought up to date on that whenever we do our program, our up-to-date program for the legislators. I really can't say offhand. I would have to call Mary. She keeps up with it on a daily basis. But Dwayne, do you have any idea?
Yes, there are several $1 million remaining that are not distributed. Unfortunately, there's big swings because as the vice chairman's check count earlier represented, there are millions of dollars in flux somewhere, either on the approval desk or checks written that are not mailed, or checks that are mailed. So it's less about how much money is left. It's much more about making application, talking to your family, your children, your grandchildren, getting them to make application just as quickly as they can. The Nation is here to help. We want to help our people, but our people have to put it in the application and give us the information. We will spend every dollar that we have been allocated. That is our intent. So worry about getting the application in.
And I would guess that there are at least 1,000 applications at some stage in the process. So within that, how many?
Today, when I left the portal today, because I approve of them coming through, we had about 2,200 approved today, and we've got 2,200 approved, and we got 2,811 in the portal. So that means that we've got 600 in the portal that will probably be approved and looked at maybe tomorrow or the next day. They're working them as fast as they can.
So given that number that are in process, we don't know what the remaining balance of funds is until we know exactly how much money gets allocated against those applications that are in process.
I am so sorry. Eva, I said that wrong. We've approved 22,000 and we've got 28,100 in the portal.
So you've already approved 22,000 applications?
Yes, we have.
Okay, and you've got another 28,000 pending.
We have
Okay.
28,000 pending, so that means that we have not worked 6,000.
Okay, got it. Okay, okay,
We approved 22,000 of the 28,000.
understood. Okay, all right. Well, that sure sounds like there's still many more people that should be putting in their applications and, you know, before we've got, what, another 6 weeks. So, so please do that. And please, especially all the folks are on the line, let your relatives know, especially your older relatives. It's just very important to make sure that they are getting the food and support that they need in these crazy times. So I said we would end at 8:15. It's 8:11. So we just have a short period of time for some closing comments, which I would invite any of you to offer. That would be fantastic.
I would like to just say that you are welcome to call me if you need some additional help from what we've said tonight. I'm especially interested in that one lady that talked about the travel. And if she needs some help, she can certainly call me at the Nation at any time.
Thank you.
On the ProPipe project, the plastic plant that we are building to house the company from Canada that's moving down here to build plastic pipe. We are at that. The building is virtually completed, and we're finishing the roads, and the railroad track is about 3/4 done up to the building, and we'll be installing equipment within the next 6 months, or the equipment should be installed completely and will be in production within the next 6 months. That operation will bring to the tribe approximately $175,000 a month. We have just under $8.5 million invested in that operation. The people that are coming down from Canada have about $16 million invested. It is a foreign trade zone, a hub zone, a new market tax credit zone, and an opportunity zone, which is every zone that the federal government has. And we've had a tremendous amount of interest shown for it. And these will be very good paying jobs, and it's the start of some great opportunity there in the industrial park. Next time we have some time, I have some good pictures of it. So
Fantastic. Thank you. Dwayne, any final remarks from you?
Oh, I would just like to thank everyone for the patience that you've shown with the CARES Act money, and ask for more forbearance. To be clear, while the U.S. Treasury has changed their governance, added more governance, all along the way that we got this money, the one thing that they have not changed at all is their right to claw back any money that is not properly administered. And that's why we have to go through this application process. So please know that's a federal government guideline. And then thanks for your patience and anything we can do.
thank you again.
Jennifer, do you have any thoughts?
Please apply and tell all of your family to apply.
Thank you.
I have one more thing. The election for tribal chairman is coming up in December, the filing period. I will be filing again to run for chairman, and I would be grateful for your support in the coming election.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman Barrett. Justin, I know there's no formal word for goodbye in Potawatomi, but what can you share with us as we leave the meeting?
I'm sorry, Justin had to leave.
Oh, okay.
Shared
All
it
right.
well.
He had another-
Mama P.
Mama P, is it? Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I know, it's been a lot of work, and, you're there after hours. It's dark and windy. It's cold here. It's probably cold there. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Thank you so much for the time and the leadership. And I'm sure you will be bombarded with more questions after this. And I know everyone welcomes them. So, and thank you, Jennifer, very much for the presentation and for all of the clear communication about this.
Thank you for inviting us, Eva. Yeah.
Thank
Oh, you're
you.
so welcome. And everybody who is on, thank you for your time, for the kind comments in the chat. And if you didn't get your question answered, it's because it was more specific than I think we could really deal with here. If I didn't direct you to the 833 number, please do call that tomorrow or when you can and ask your very specific question. You will get an answer. And if you don't, or if you'd like another answer, you want a forum shop, Jennifer will take that on. So thanks again. And thank you also to the IT folks who put this together. And good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Take care. Bye-bye.